You think you can sing better than that? Jeff Mayo's voice boomed through the Warner Theater, sharp and mocking, the mic amplifying every syllable to the 2,000 stunned souls in the sold-out crowd. Spotlights swung wildly. Phones shot up, red recording lights everywhere, feeds already blowing up online. Amara froze in her third-row seat, braids tucked neatly, blue blouse crisp from the discount rack. The one her mom Keisha saved for special nights like this charity gala for DC youth music programs. Jeff strode to the edge of the stage, sequin jacket glittering like armor, pointing straight down at her. Yeah, you, the quiet girl, you been humming my song this whole time like you know it better than me? No. Please, Mr. Mayo, I didn't mean to. Amara's small voice barely carried over the excited chatter in the Warner Theater. Then low, close enough for her seat mic to catch it on a fan stream. You think you know enough, kid? You will have to sing it now, or everyone sees you fail. Security parted the row. Hands pulled her up the steps onto the massive stage, blinding lights. Crowd whooping now thinking it's fun. Phones inches from her face. Jeff stepped back, arms wide, daring her. Come on, DC. Let's hear what she's got. Jeff shoved the mic into her trembling fingers, towering over her 4 feet 10 inches frame. The band crashed into the intro of Sky High. The impossible B5 note loomed. Amara's eyes burned with tears, but she gripped the mic tighter. And the first sound out of her mouth wasn't fear. It was fire. Before we continue, I want to speak to you for a moment. If stories like this remind you that kindness still exists, if they make you feel something real in a world that's getting louder and colder, then I'd love to have you here with us. This channel isn't just videos. It's a tiny corner of the internet where good people come together. Where we believe in second chances, in hope, and in humanity. And right now you're early. You're part of the very first people building this family with me. So if you want to grow with us, if you want more stories that touch your heart, go ahead and subscribe. It's free, it supports the channel more than you know. And it tells me that there are still people out there who believe in kindness just as much as I do. If you have subscribed to this channel, I can officially say welcome to the family. The Warner Theater in downtown Washington, D.C., is one of those places that feels like stepping into old Hollywood glamour mixed with modern hype. Built back in 1924, it's hosted legends from Duke Ellington to Beyoncé, red velvet seats, gold-trimmed balconies, massive chandelier glowing like a star over the crowd. Tonight, every one of its 2,000 seats was packed for Jeff Mayo's big charity gala. Voices for the Future, raising money for youth music programs in underserved DC neighborhoods. Tickets started at $150, but VIPs went for thousands. The show was live-streamed on YouTube and TikTok, already pulling in hundreds of thousands of viewers before the lights even dimmed. Jeff Mayo was that guy, the pop icon who'd exploded onto the scene 5 years ago with his debut album Elevate. 3 platinum records, 2 Grammys, sold-out tours at arenas like Capital One. His signature? That sky-high falsetto on his mega-hit Sky High. The B5 note that closed every show, the one fans screamed for, the one that racked up billions of streams and made him a household name from Los Angeles to New York City. Forbes called him one of the highest-paid entertainers under 35. Endorsements with Nike, Pepsi, even his own cologne line. He was the smooth, charismatic king of R&B pop, always talking about giving back in interviews. Tonight's gala? His idea? Perfect PR. But for folks like Keisha James, getting there wasn't easy. Keisha was a 32-year-old single mom working as a nursing assistant at Howard University Hospital, pulling 12-hour shifts for barely enough to cover rent on their small apartment in Southeast DC. Bills piled up, electric, daycare for Amara's little brother on school nights, groceries that always seemed to cost more than last month. Dreams like concert tickets? Luxury. But when the radio announced a contest for free seats to Jeff Mayo's gala, Tell us why music matters to your family, Keisha entered on a whim during a late-night break. She poured her heart into it, how her 9-year-old daughter Amara sang like an angel to lift their spirits after tough days. They won 2 tickets in the orchestra section, row 12, close enough to see the sweat on the performers' faces. Amara James was tiny for 9, barely 4 feet 6 inches, with neat braids and big curious eyes. She wore her best blue blouse, the one Keisha ironed twice, and a simple skirt. Amara didn't talk much at school, but music? That was her world. She'd been singing in the children's choir at Greater Mount Calvary Holy Church since she could walk. Her choir director spotted it early, perfect pitch. Girl hears a car horn and knows the note, he'd joke. At home, Amara hummed along to everything on Keisha's old phone. Whitney, Mariah, and yeah, Jeff Mayo's Sky High. She could mimic those runs flawlessly, hitting whistles that made Keisha stop and stare. But lessons? Out of reach. DC public schools cut music budgets years ago. Tonight was magic. Amara clutched her mom's hand as they found their seats, the theater buzzing with excitement. Spotlights swept the stage, the orchestra warming up. The show started strong, opening acts from local DC talent. Then Jeff Mayo exploded onto the stage in a glittering sequin jacket, band firing up, Sky High. The crowd went wild. Amara couldn't help it, she hummed softly along from her seat, lost in the music, nailing every harmony under her breath. Earlier, during intermission, she'd slipped closer to the stage wings, bathroom break turned curious wander. That's when she overheard Jeff in a quick soundcheck, voice cracking on that famous B5. He snapped at his tech. Boost the layer, make it seamless. The fix kicked in, perfect but fake. Amara's perfect pitch caught it immediately, digital overlay not live. She backed away quietly, confused. Why fake the note everyone loved him for? Now mid-song Jeff hit the bridge, and glanced down. His eyes locked on Amara, humming perfectly, louder than she realized in her excitement. He stopped the band cold. You think you can sing better than that? Jeff Mayo's voice boomed through the Warner Theater, sharp and mocking, the mic amplifying every syllable to the stunned crowd. Spotlights swung wildly. Phones shot up, live streams exploding. Amara froze in her seat. Jeff strode to the stage edge, pointing straight at her. Yeah, you, the little girl down front with the braids, humming my runs like you own 'em. Get up here. Gasps everywhere. Keisha grabbed Amara's hand. Baby, no. But security was already moving. Jeff's grin for the cameras. Come on, DC. This is a charity show. Let's give her a moment. Low as she was pulled on stage. You heard too much earlier, kid. Sing it now, or crash hard. The band restarted Sky High. The impossible B5 loomed. Amara, tiny under the blinding lights, gripped the mic, tears welled. But something shifted. She thought of church solos, of Keisha's tired smiles. She opened her mouth. The verse came soft, shaky but pure. Then the bridge climbed. No strain. She hit B5 clean, held it, soared to C6 and whistle that rang through the historic theater like a bell. The crowd erupted, standing ovation mid-song. Jeff's face drained of color. As the cheers died, his tech guy Mike Donovan leaned in from the wings, whispering off mic to Amara. Kid, that was incredible. And listen, I've been faking his notes for years. But you? Your family. I'm your Uncle Mike, your mom's old brother she lost touch with. Saw your pics online. This ends tonight. Amara's eyes widened. Betrayal? Alliance? The streams hit 1 million views in minutes. The night had just begun. The Warner Theater was still buzzing long after the final note faded. But by the time Keisha and Amara made it out into the crisp DC night, the world had already changed. Amara's phone, Keisha's old hand-me-down, wouldn't stop vibrating in her little purse. Notifications poured in. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube clips titled 9-year-old shuts down Jeff Mayo at Warner Theater. And Tiny Girl hits note pop star can't live. By midnight, the mainstream clip hit 1.5 million views. By morning, over 10 million. Amara James was trending nationwide, right alongside Jeff Mayo exposed and DC sensation. Local news stations led with it. Anacostia girl steals the show at charity gala. Even CNN picked it up. Viral moment. Child prodigy outshines superstar. DC embraced her like one of their own. GoFundMe pages popped up overnight. Support Amara's music dreams, raising thousands in hours from strangers in Ward 8 to Georgetown. Messages flooded Keisha's inbox. She's our little Whitney. Proud of that Southeast shine. Church members from Greater Mount Calvary called, offering prayers and potluck invites. Amara, wide-eyed and overwhelmed, just kept saying, Mama, why are all these people talking about me? But not everyone was celebrating. Jeff Mayo's team went into damage control fast. By dawn, anonymous sources close to the singer leaked stories to tabloids like TMZ and The Shade Room. Insider says concert crasher plans stunt for fame. Doctored clips circulated, slowed down versions making Amara's humming look aggressive. captions calling her a clout-chasing kid from a troubled home. They dug up old public records. Keisha's past eviction notice from years ago, blurred photos of their modest apartment building in Southeast, headlines screaming, "Desperate mom pushes daughter into spotlight." Keisha got the first threat at work, a call to Howard University Hospital HR claiming she was exploiting her child for money. Then text to her phone, ugly words, slurs, warnings to keep your kid quiet. At Amara's elementary school in Anacostia, parents pulled up with signs, "Protect Jeff," and "No bullies in our schools." News vans camped outside, kids whispered in hallways. The principal called Keisha. For safety, maybe keep her home a few days. Amara cried that night, curled up on their worn couch. "Mama, I didn't mean to make people mad. I just sang." Keisha held her tight. "You told the truth, baby. That's never wrong." Then came the flip. Lena Brooks, a 34-year-old session singer from Atlanta who'd been in the shadows for years, posted a raw video on Instagram. Sitting in her home studio, she held up old contracts. "I'm the voice on that B5 everyone thinks is Jeff Mayo's. I've done it on 3 of his albums. Paid flat fees, signed NDAs, no credit. That little girl in DC? She nailed it live, something he never could. I'm done hiding." Proof attached, emails, raw vocal tracks matching the sky-high master. Views exploded, 20 million in a day. The narrative shifted hard. Celebrities jumped in. John Legend tweeted, "This 9-year-old from DC just showed what real talent looks like. Protect Amara at all costs. Truth over tracks." Alicia Keys followed, "Session singers built this industry. Time for credit where it's due. Stand with Amara." Even DC's own Taraji P. Henson reposted, "That's my city. Little sis representing." But the biggest shock came quietly. Tyrone Ellis, Jeff's longtime producer, the one who'd mixed every hit and defended him fiercely in early interviews. "It was just a fun moment, y'all blowing it up," slid into Keisha's DMs from a burner account. Late one night, after Amara was asleep, Keisha answered an unknown call. "This Tyrone Ellis. Don't hang up, we need to talk about Jeff." Keisha's heart raced. "You work for him. Why you calling me?" "Because I've been holding dirt on him for years," Tyrone said, voice low. "He didn't just fake notes, he cut me out of royalties, threatened my career when I pushed back. I've been quietly blackmailing him to stay paid. But watching that baby girl stand up there? Changed everything. He's part of a bigger label scam, faking vocals for multiple artists, burying real talent like Lena. I got files, emails, proofs. I want in with y'all. Help take down the whole machine." Keisha gripped the phone. "Ally? Trap? Send something first," she said. An email pinged minutes later. Screenshots of internal label chats admitting the fakes, royalty statements shorting Tyrone. The storm wasn't over, it was just getting stronger. And Amara, only 9, was right in the eye. 2 weeks after the Warner Theater showdown, the knock on the door came early, 7 a.m. before Keisha's shift at the hospital. A process server in a cheap suit handed her a thick envelope. "Keisha James? You've been served." Inside, a $5 million defamation lawsuit from Jeff Mayo. Named defendants? Amara, age 9, Keisha James, Mike Donovan, the tech guy/uncle, even the Warner Theater for negligent security during the event. Claims, malicious falsehoods, intentional harm to reputation, lost earnings from canceled endorsements. Keisha's hands shook so bad she dropped the papers on the kitchen floor. Amara, still in her pajamas eating cereal, peeked over. "Mama, what's wrong?" "Nothing, baby. Just grown-up stuff." But it was everything. Jeff's lawyers painted Amara as a disruptive child coached to sabotage the charity event. They demanded retraction, apology, and damages that could wipe out a family like theirs 10 times over. The media went nuclear. CNN ran segments. Pop star sues 9-year-old over viral concert clash. The Washington Post front page. DC's Little Voice versus music giant. Modern David and Goliath? Reporters camped outside their apartment building in Southeast, cameras flashing every time they left for church or school. Amara stopped going outside alone. Nightmares woke her, dreams of spotlights turning into jail bars. Then Bradley Klein showed up. Jeff's lead attorney, tall, silver-haired shark from a big K Street firm, the kind that reps senators and CEOs. He cornered Keisha after her shift, waiting in the hospital parking lot. Mrs. James, he said, all fake charm. This doesn't have to go to trial. Jeff's a reasonable man. Sign this NDA and apology, admit it was a misunderstanding, and we'll drop the suit. Plus, a $30,000 scholarship fund for Amara. Private lessons, whatever she needs. Everyone wins. Keisha stared at the document. $30,000? College money. Escape from the struggle. But it meant calling her baby a liar. No, she said. We're not selling her truth. Klein's smile faded. Think carefully. Legal fees alone will bury you. And Jeff's generous offer expires soon. That night, Keisha cried in the shower so Amara wouldn't hear. But DC fights back. A GoFundMe started by church members, legal fund for Amara's truth, blew up. Strangers from across the city donated. Teachers, bus drivers, even tourists who'd seen the viral clip. Hit $200,000 in days. Messages poured in, from one Southeast mom to another, hold strong. This is our city too. Enter Vanessa Ruiz, sharp, no-nonsense attorney from the ACLU's DC office. Latina, mid-40s, known for civil rights wins. She called Keisha direct. I saw the theater video. This is bullying, plain and simple. We'll represent you pro bono. Truth is the ultimate defense. First meeting in a small office downtown, Vanessa laid out the plan, countersue for harassment, abuse of process. Pull discovery on Jeff's vocals, contracts, everything. Amara sat quiet, legs swinging off the chair. Vanessa knelt to her level. You okay, Mija? Amara nodded, but her eyes were scared. Weeks into discovery, Vanessa hit gold, or horror. Digging through Jeff's label emails, subpoenaed via Tyrone's insider drops, she found messages to a scout in D.C. Payments to someone at Greater Mount Calvary Holy Church. Hidden audio files attached. Recordings of children's choir rehearsals. Specifically, Amara's solo practices. Her unique whistle register captured clear as day. The assistant to Reverend Hayes? A plant. Paid by the label to spy record promising kids. Notes in the chain. This girl's high range, perfect layer for Jeff's next single. Get clean stems before she gets noticed. They weren't just covering Jeff's weakness. They planned to steal Amara's voice, credit him, bury her. Vanessa slammed the files down. This isn't defamation anymore. It's corporate theft. Attempted exploitation of a minor. Keisha gasped. Amara's church, her safe place, compromised. The feud just went from personal to criminal. And the trial hadn't even started. The D.C. Superior Court building on Indiana Avenue NW loomed like a fortress in the heart of Judiciary Square, gray stone, American flags flapping in the winter wind, security lines snaking out the door. Inside courtroom 212, the air was thick with tension. Wooden benches packed with reporters, supporters from Southeast D.C. churches, and music industry suits whispering furiously. Microphones from every major network poked over the rails. This wasn't just a hearing, it was a spectacle, live-streamed to millions who'd followed Amara James since the Warner Theater video went mega-viral. Judge Marcus Hale presided from the bench. A no-nonsense black man in his late 50s, robes crisp, gavel at the ready. Known for civil rights rulings and a low tolerance for celebrity drama, he'd fast-tracked the case after Vanessa Ruiz's motion. This court won't let wealth silence truth, he'd said at the prelims. The hearing opened with fireworks. Vanessa played the Warner Theater footage unedited. Jeff dragging Amara on stage, his whispered threat, her flawless B5 soaring while his cracked in rehearsal clips. Then Lena Brooks took the stand, contracts in hand, NDAs, payment stubs proving her voice was the magic on Jeff's tracks. Bradley Klein objected every step. Irrelevant. Industry standard. But Judge Hale overruled. The jury and America deserves the full picture. Jeff sat stone-faced at the plaintiff's table, sequins swapped for a tailored suit, but sweat beaded on his forehead under the courtroom lights. Then came Amara. Vanessa called her gently. The defense calls Amara. Tiny in her Sunday dress, Amara climbed the witness stand, legs dangling from the chair. The room hushed. Vanessa started soft. Amara, tell us what happened that night. With a small voice that carried big, Amara recounted overhearing the fake, the drag on stage, singing from her heart. I wasn't trying to hurt him, ma'am. I just sang true. Klein pounced on Cross. Isn't it true your family struggles financially? Mom works long hours, apartment small. Maybe you saw a chance for fame, a payout. Amara's eyes welled, but she straightened. We struggle, sir. But Mama says truth's richer than money. I sang 'cause he asked and I could. Murmurs rippled. Keisha wiped tears from the gallery. Even Judge Hale leaned forward. The climax hit when Vanessa rapped, Your Honor, the core claim is Mr. Mayo's vocal ability. He sues for defamation over a note he says he owns. Judge Hale nodded. Mr. Mayo, demonstrate. Sing the B5 from Sky High. Right here, no tracks. The room froze. Jeff stammered, Your Honor, this is a courtroom, not a stage. My voice isn't prepared? Warmed up. Hale cut in. You built a career on live claims. Sing it. Jeff stood, cleared his throat. The verse started shaky. Bridge climbed. A B5? A crack, flat, strained, splintering into silence. Cough. Dry throat, Your Honor. Gasp. Laughter from the back. Phones captured every wince. Dismissed, Hale ruled. No defamation, truth prevails. Sanctions on plaintiff for frivolous suit. $50,000 to defendant's legal fund. The gavel cracked like thunder. Outside, media swarmed. Flashes, shouts of Amara. How's it feel? Keisha shielded her as they pushed through. Jeff's fall was swift. His label issued a statement, terminating contract effective immediately. Tours canceled, refunds rolling. Stocks dipped for the parent company. But as cheers echoed, Mike Donovan pulled Vanessa aside in the hallway, face pale. I hacked more emails last night. Jeff didn't just fake notes, he wired bribes to Grammy voters. Proof here, transfers, chats. Involves 5 other stars, big names. Vanessa's eyes widened. This triggers FBI. Payola scandal. Word leaked fast. Federal agents raided Jeff's offices that afternoon. Headlines, Mayo case sparks music industry probe, stars implicated. Amara, safe at home, got a chilling anonymous text. You started this. Powerful people don't forget. The reckoning wasn't over, it was spreading. And now Amara was in the crosshairs. 18 months after the courtroom gavel fell, Jeff Mayo's name barely registered anymore. The federal probe uncovered payola rings stretching across labels, Grammy revocations for him and others, fines in the millions. His mansion in Potomac sold at auction, the flashy cars repoed. Last anyone saw, he was posting low-view YouTube tutorials, vocal tips from a former star, comments disabled, subscribers trickling in the low thousands. Forgotten. But Amara? She was just getting started. Now 10, turning 11 soon, Amara still lived in the same southeast apartment with Keisha and her little brother. School days at her local elementary, homework at the kitchen table, choir practice at Greater Mount Calvary on Sundays. Fame knocked, but Keisha kept the door cracked, not wide open. Major labels circled with big offers. Keisha turned them down. She's a child first. Instead, Amara signed with a small, artist-owned indie label focused on real voices. Her debut single, Real High, co-written with Lena Brooks about rising above lies, dropped quietly. No hype, just truth. It exploded anyway. Platinum in months, billions of streams from kids who saw themselves in her story. She launched the True Notes Fund with her earnings and donations. Scholarships for DC kids in music, free lessons, instruments, even legal workshops on contracts so no one got exploited. Hundreds applied, dozens awarded spots the first year. Every voice deserves credit, Amara said in her first interview. Change rippled wider. Inspired by her case, Congress passed the Vocal Transparency Act, requiring disclaimers on tickets for pre-recorded elements in live shows, penalties for false advertising. 12 states followed. The Recording Academy overhauled rules. Full vocalist credits mandatory, no more buried session work. Young artists everywhere cited Amara. She showed us we don't have to hide. Her pinnacle came at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, that gleaming riverside icon on the Potomac, with its grand concert hall and sweeping views of the city. A special benefit concert, Voices Unsilenced. Amara headlined, simple white dress, no backup tracks, just her, a piano played by Lena, and that voice. She sang Real High, hitting the B5 pure, then soaring higher in whistle that filled the hall like sunlight. The audience, 2,300 strong from DC locals to national figures, rose in waves. Tears everywhere. Keisha in the front row beaming proud. But the real echo came later, at the DC Music Festival on the National Mall. Summer heat, crowds dancing under monuments, stages thumping with go-go and hip-hop. Amara performed a surprise set, crowd chanting her name. Backstage afterward, cooling down with water, security waved someone through. A man in a plain hoodie, cap low, looking broken. Jeff Mayo. Amara froze. Keisha wasn't there, quick bathroom run. He dropped to one knee, eye level with her. Voice cracked. Amara? I didn't come for trouble. I came, 'cause I can't live with the lie anymore. She backed up. You heard us. Why now? Tears streaked his face. Because back when I was struggling, busking in you street clubs, no deals, I met your mama. One night, young and dumb. She got pregnant. I panicked, ran when fame called. Told myself I'd come back rich. But I never did. You're my daughter. DNA proof in my pocket if you want it. The world tilted. Security hovered, but Amara held up a hand. I don't need money, he whispered. Just forgiveness. A chance to help. For real. The fund, your music, whatever. I'm sorry, baby girl. For everything. Amara stared, anger, confusion, something soft flickering. The man who tried to silence her, her father? She didn't hug him. Didn't forgive on the spot. But she nodded. Maybe we talk. With Mama. He stood, broken but hopeful. Walked away into the festival lights. Amara's truth had shattered an empire. Now it was rebuilding her family, one complicated note at a time. From a terrified 9-year-old under Warner lights to a voice that changed the industry, Amara proved. Real high isn't faked. It's earned. And it echoes forever. What will you rate this story from 0 to 10? And what part of the world are you watching from? Comment your country below. Let's build a global community rooted in kindness and second chances. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Your support brings us closer to our 1K subscriber milestone and inspires us to keep creating more emotional stories of resilience, healing, and Black excellence. Thank you for being part of our journey. Your presence matters more than you know. Hope to see you again.